Good afternoon. Uh, I really don't want to go into any greetings, etc., spending time. Let's go straight to the point. The points made by my previous speakers, I think I'll try to follow up on those. But basically, the PowerPoint that I have here is a pretty old one, but it talks about what the Indian Ocean looks like, which everybody knows, and how big it is, etc., how important it is. And then the Bay of Bengal, because for Bangladesh, Bay of Bengal is mostly Indian Ocean. And why is it important to Bangladesh? For some time, we were not particularly a great maritime country, but now that our maritime boundary issues with our neighbors, India and Myanmar, have been peacefully resolved, this has become more important and relevant for us, and Bangladesh now is trying to become a more involved maritime nation, and Bay of Bengal is very important for us, and of course Bay of Bengal is in Indian Ocean. And here we call it our third neighborhood, third neighbor, Bay of Bengal. And we've got an area of about 118,000 square kilometers in our new maritime territory, which includes the exclusive economic zone as well as the territorial waters. Now, security threats, whatever is the security threat in Bay of Bengal is also similar to other parts of Indian Ocean as well. So you have the traditional security threats, boundary issues and disputes, violation of territorial waters and EEZs, piracy, security of shipping, trade and commerce, and related governance. And then also you have non-traditional security threats like inadequate information on maritime domain. Like we do not have, as a new maritime power, maritime nation, we do not have a lot of information about what we have in our maritime zone. So that creates a lot of threat in itself. We need to know better so that we can use it better, we use it in a sustainable way. And then sustainable exploitation of resources and conservation, environmental and pollution issues, other natural and man-made disasters, smuggling and trafficking. So if we know what the threats are, then it is easier to address them. And therefore, I think there we come to this question of architectures. And the question is whether we have one huge big architecture to address all these issues, or we have different architectures to address different issues. I think the second one would be much easier to address. And then we already have institutions which have which provide the appropriate forums for building these architectures, like you have the IORA and then IONS, and we have Indian Ocean Research Group, Indian Ocean Tuna Commission, the Bubble Me project, etc. So these are already some of the structures around which we can build the architectures. But how do we move there? It has to be a consultative process involving the littorals as well as extra-littoral states, because littoral states alone cannot ensure the security of the regional waters. We need the help of extra-littoral and other interested stakeholders. And therefore, we need a fully inclusive system of governance, welcoming all. Governance based on committee, coexistence, and cooperation. The first Indian Ocean Conference organized by India Foundation in Singapore, based on these themes. Committee was the main word. I think that is where the real spirit, the key lies. If we base all our efforts on this notion of committee, coexistence, and cooperation, I think we should be going in the right direction. And then very important when you have these architectures is sharing of relevant information. So there should be different information networks, information about navigation, commercial navigation as well as military navigation, Then also about fishing, about weather and climate environment, about movement of illegal movements in the ocean. So sharing of information will be a very important component of the architecture that we are talking about. Then harmonization of laws and regulations. Unless we do that, it will be very difficult to coordinate and cooperate. So that is also another area where we must focus when we think in terms of the architectures. Then joint patrolling in appropriate areas wherever possible. Littorals, as well as whenever, if necessary, if we think that we don't have the wherewithal, we may also have our friends from other areas join us if necessary. Like we see that about piracy in the Gulf of Aden area. Countries from all over are participating in that project. Sharing technology and capacity building assistance, all these things will become important. And when we talk about architectures, how do we move there? I think it is very important to make sure that we have all the different countries who are participating and who are interested in this prepare their own visions of what kind of architectures we want to see. This can be, we can take a decision here during this conference that the countries will, by a certain date, countries interested will provide their proposals, how they want to see, and that we can then synthesize those reports and come back with ideas and share it with all the countries involved. So I think those are some of the words that I thought I'll share with you. But this whole thing, this whole conference, will be discussing this in greater details over the next few hours, today and tomorrow. Thank you.